Now let's talk about making sure that the detail that we add is planar. So looking at the model that we want to build, you can see that we have, for instance, up on this cockpit, we have this plane here that contains all of these windows. Now this plane is not straight up and down or straight along any particular axis. It's actually rotated in all three axes. So you've got, this is narrower up at the top, and it kind of expands down or flares out at the bottom, but then maybe the back is flared out more than the front. And so what you've got is a really good chance that your model is not going to be, that side is not going to be planar. Okay, and if it's not planar, it's going to be difficult to add all of that detail in here and still keep a nice, smooth, flat shape here so that all of this detail exists along this one single plane. Now we could start to bring in some base geometry to start to build those windows into. So let's say that this is the side that we want to build, and this doesn't have any extra resolution in here. It's just one single quad, but the fact that it's a quad means that it can get so that it's not planar anymore. So you can see that if we have a triangle, we know that that's going to be planar. Okay, but once we introduce the fourth point, if we take a look at this, you can see that actually it kind of comes down and back out again in this case. So like if we were to go ahead and connect this up with an edge, you can see that it would come down to this edge and then go back out. So it wouldn't really be completely flat. Okay, now we could build our geometry in here and start to build all that resolution, but a lot of times if you do that, it's going to, you're going to end up with some dents and things, especially if you're going to be kind of smoothing that out. Some of those things you can fix with normals, smoothing the normals and hardening normals. But one of the ways that we can make sure that our pieces that we build are planar is to use a construction plane. So if we go to create construction plane, we can go in here and you can see you can choose the size of the plane and also what axis it's created on. So we'll go ahead and apply and close. And there we get just a simple plane that we can use. So we can go ahead and bring this up. Okay, up here, let's go to the top view. We can kind of rotate this. Okay, so we'll kind of rotate it and put it at the sort of the angle of the top here. We can also rotate it in another axis to get that look there. We can kind of move it over. Okay, so we can get it in kind of a good position where we want the detail to be, and we can actually use this to build upon. So I'm going to go ahead and make this construction plane live, and so there you can see that we have this nice grid at an angle that we can work on. So if we now come in here from a side view, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and under polygons, let's go to create polygon tool, and let's say I want to start to draw in this side. So I can come in here and just start to draw in geometry for this piece. I can also start a new polygon here and start to draw in the windows. Okay, same thing here. Start to draw those windows in. And all of this is being snapped to that plane. Do the same thing over here. So looking at those polygons, I'm going to go ahead and hide this. And let me go ahead and reverse our normals here. So you can see we've got a plane here, and we've got the 4 points again, but this time it is planar. So you can see that all 4 points lie along the same plane, even though it's at an angle. Okay, and then we have the windows themselves that exist on the exact same plane. So we could come in here and grab those windows, could combine them into a single object, start to come in and grab, you just hide this piece for now. And so those are all on that construction plane, and then we could start to connect them together. Come in here and maybe use just a bridge, a linear bridge between those. Same thing here. And I'm going to go ahead and reverse the normal on this face, and then connect those two edges up. Okay. And we can see that that geometry lies on that particular plane. So we don't have to worry about if we come in with something like that original piece not being planar on the side. Okay. And then we can combine this onto, extend this out so that it's the same, and so that it's the same shape here. Okay. Another option would be to go ahead and just build your plane separately along a particular axis. So in this case, completely flat. So you can see this is completely flat along this axis. Okay. And then we could go ahead and take this and rotate it into position. And we would want to add the detail there that we want, but we could come in and now move this into position. This is one of the things that you'll find, depending on the type of vehicle you're doing, but in a lot of military vehicles, you'll find these details occur along these flat planes that are at particular angles. And it's important for us when we start to add a lot of edges and subdivide this like this, it's important for us to do that on a planar surface, or we can start to get some artifacts and changes in direction of the surface in the middle where we don't necessarily want it. Okay, sometimes it can be minimal, and other times it can be something where you really need to rebuild it to avoid that. All right, and so you can build that flat. You can build it using a construction plane. We could also use an object that is just a regular plane, make that live. You could use objects that you create. You just want to make sure that your sides are actually planar. All right, so those are a couple of techniques we can use to make sure that the detail that we add is completely flat on those flat planes where we've got those planar sides there. The next thing that we want to go ahead and look at is just some concepts regarding the topology of some of these pieces. So even though it's a very low res and kind of simple layout, some of these cases it'll be a little bit more complex as far as the topology that we need to actually create. So we'll go ahead and do that next.